So the biggest moment in this episode, I think, was the reveal and revelation that dreams are now becoming real, or that things that are happening in your dreams kind of bleed into the reality, or whatever the reality is for the Fromiverse. Whether it's a pocket dimension, whether it's just some crazy town, and it's a science experiment, or it's supernatural, or this or that, or they're in purgatory. Whatever is going on in the Fromiverse, dreams are now affecting that reality, and wherever it's going on in, like, the real world. And that is, like, really, really upsetting. It's, like, super unfair. Like, you already can't go out at night because there's creepy monsters that'll tear your face off. Oh, there's not, if you believe Randall. But it's like, you at least can escape in your dreams. But now your dreams are coming to attack you, Freddy Krueger style. Ha ha ha, body coming to get ya. Freddy Krueger style. And it's like, it's so upsettingly unfair. Like, at the end of the episode where they're burning the body, and Kane's just like, oh man, this sucks, man. Like, I've been scared, but I'm used to that kind of fear. Dreams killing me now? That's just, come on, man. And I'm like, that's how I would feel. I'd be like, that just seems unfair. What? Like, come on, man. But as, like, an audience watching the series, super exciting, super interesting. I really like the idea of visually how that's going to work. Like, you know, things coming and burning them and then waking up and they've got the burns. Blending of dreams into reality. Crazy. And then it cuts to the opening credits and we go. And that's how you cold open. That's how you cold open. There is nothing I love more in a TV series than a good, clean, tight cold opening. Hey guys, I'm Jax and this is my spoiler review for From Season 2, Episode 8. If you're new to the channel, I would love it if you could give me a subscribe. If you love talking TV shows, movies, and just all things TV shows and movies, it's pretty much just TV shows and movies, if I'm being honest. Would love if everyone could comment below, what do you think about this episode of From? So this episode of From really focused in on Randall, and Randall's pretty out there theory as to what is going on in the Fromiverse. And he's kind of jumping on the back of Jim's theory of it being an experiment, a human man-made scientific experiment of some type, a test. And he's kind of jumping on the back of that, and then he's crushing Jim, pushing him into the dirt, standing up, and just kind of running with his own insane theory that's very vaguely connected to Jim's theory, but also at this point, I don't even understand where he's coming from. Like, even the logic he draws, like, he says things where he's like, someone could be in on it. If it is an experiment, someone in the town is in on it. And I'm like, oh my lord, that is genius. That's terrifying, and that's really, really interesting for things moving forward. And at first, him and Jim are like, all right, so who could it be? Who's the ones who are kind of leading the kind of the rules that are in place and kind of making us do certain things? And I'm like, wait, okay, this is actually starting to make a little bit of sense. But then it quickly disintegrates into just pure nonsense, where I don't know if I'm meant to think Randall is maybe in on it, but then why would he even bring any of this up? Or has he got his own ulterior motives? But that also feels kind of weird and random. But then it's like, is he just gone crazy? Has he just gone mad with this theory? Like a crazy man on subreddits just going, this is my theory. And everyone's like, but what about this, and this? And he's like, I've committed to this being my theory. I'm going to ignore those elements because I think it's this, even though that doesn't make any sense. And the first thing is, he's like, we don't know what happens at night. They tell us to shut our blinds. Why do we shut our blinds? What? What do you mean, Randall? You live in the bus. The bus doesn't have blinds. Doesn't it? I mean, maybe I have blacked out what the bus looks like, but in my memory of every single scene we've seen with the bus, there are no blinds. And he's had like sequences like where the monsters come up to the bus and he's like, get out of here, I'm Randall, I'm angry, and they leave. Like, he's seen them do stuff. I don't understand what he's talking about. Like, what blinds? Like, I understand the houses have blinds, but he doesn't live in a house. He lives in a bus with no blinds. I don't get it. I don't understand what he's talking about. He's like, let's go to the RV. Let's find out what's going on. What makes you think that, like, you'd be hiding in the IV and they'll just, like, have a meeting where Donna and the monsters will, like, meet up and they'll all have, like, drinks together in a little secret meeting where they're wearing hoods and they're like, ha ha ha, the scheme is continuing, ah ha ha, this experiment. Like, what does he think's gonna happen? The only time they've spent time in the RV is Jim's first night, in which the monsters could sense that they were there. I don't know how. I guess they just know where people are sometimes. Or they saw a thing and went, well, that looks like a house to us because we're monsters. And they tried to attack them in the RV. Won't that just happen again, Jim? I don't understand what's going on. All of this plot didn't really make any sense. But then we never really even get to that moment where they go, oh, actually, yeah, this didn't make any sense. Because Randall doubles down and triples down and then completely loses his mind and just kidnaps Donna, ties her to a tree, and he's got a knife and he's like, let's get to stabbing. Although he's probably not going to stab Donna. I guess he's going to wait in the RV and see the monsters actually tear her apart to get a confirmation either way, or to see the monsters come up and be like, oh, it's you, Donna, the leader of the bad people, the experiment. We won't kill you. And they walk away. Like, I guess that's what he's expecting, one or the other, for a confirmation either way. So Randall's other thing is, has anybody actually died? And they have. We've seen them, like, Boyd's wife, like, shoots a bunch of people, like, in the head with bullets. Like, they died. Like, we get a flashback with Victor, where he's like, oh my god, and the whole town has been killed. And it's like, I don't know, I just feel like if we're going to try and believe his theory, because I feel like every time characters talk about theories and stuff, and I really like that for the most part, because it's kind of like the community online, on subreddits and stuff, on YouTube and stuff, we're all discussing ideas and thoughts and theories and speculating. So the characters are speculating. But if you're going to spend like a whole episode with a character being like, ooh, could it be this? And it just feels like it can't be that. And if it is that, that's going to be really underwhelming and kind of frustrating. Like if you reveal that everybody who has died isn't dead, I can't imagine a single viewer not being really underwhelmed and kind of frustrated and annoyed by that. Because then it's like, oh, so the priest, when he died, instead of it being horrific and shocking and really like a huge moment where I went, oh my lord, they will kill anyone. He was like one of the main characters. Like, they will kill anybody. Oh, no, they won't, because he didn't die. I feel like it's all the stakes are suddenly removed. And it's like, why do I care then about the monsters and them surviving and all these horrible, intense things going on if it's just all like this fake out experiment? And yes, it is only for the one episode, but it feels like that's what this whole episode was about. And the whole time I'm like, oh god, I hope not. I really hope that's like not even half true. Because I really do like the idea of it being an experiment, even though it's definitely not an experiment, I think. I don't know. The idea of this being scientific in any way and not supernatural kind of confuses me. And I feel like if they make it scientific with like men in lab coats being like, ha, we're testing their fear for army reasons or whatever. It's like, that just feels like you're going to have to explain it. And when you say something, it's going to be like, well, that doesn't really make any sense. They're like, yeah, it was future science. Whereas if it's supernatural, they can just be like, it's magic, shut up. And I'm like, cool, yeah, it's magic. Like, I don't watch a supernatural-esque show, and they're like, well, we opened the portal to the hell, and these demons walked out. I'm like, yeah, that's what would happen. If magic existed and there was a portal to a demon dimension, they could walk through it. Like, I don't know, I feel like the logic and like the need to explain in really in-depth detail, if it's scientific, is going to be hard, and if it's magic, supernatural wackiness, and if it's like an element of both, I'd be okay with that. But yeah, the idea that people are in on it, I really like, and I like how they kind of teased it, but I feel like the dead thing just really makes me go, oh, no, they have to all be dead. The one thing I thought this episode did really, really well, though, was being like, is Donna in on it? Donna just keeps rocking up, like every single scene, there's like characters doing a thing, and then Donna rocks up and she's like, I'm here for the, oh, I got a headache. What's going on here? And like every moment she like appears and she's like, I've got this sewing for you to do. And it's like bad improv where she doesn't know what she's saying and she's just there. Well, that's how Randall's reading it. Even though we've seen a scene where Boyd was like, give her a job. So it fits either way, why Donna just keeps rocking up in these places. So I really, really like that, how it's just kind of like, if you want to kind of buy into Randall's theory that Donna's in on it, she just keeps rocking up in every scene and just kind of being like, what's going on here? Break this up. And even to the point where they have this dead monster body from the Joker, and he's dead, and there's bugs crawling out of him, and there's so much more science experimenting, figuring out to do with this body, and they need to learn more. They haven't learned everything, they need to learn more. And then Donna rocks up and she's like, burn the body, get it out of here. Sus AF. Super, super sus. I don't understand why they burnt the body. We might never get another chance to have a corpse. You need to figure stuff out. You need to like learn more. It was crazy. So it was like, they kept using Donna where I'm like, well, that would still make sense if you think Donna is just the lovely woman who's kind of in charge of colony, and she just thinks that that's a really scary bad thing, so burn it. And they agree, because, like, she's in charge. So, like, it makes sense on either way, which I think was really, really clever. It was probably the one aspect of the episode where I'm like, oh no, that is really clever. Even though the idea of Donna being evil, as it were, or, like, you know, in on it, kind of doesn't really make sense, I feel like, if you just look through, like, every other episode of the show. But I like how if they're doing this for this episode, Donna did seem sus AF. Okay, so let's talk the Joker body and all the bugs that flew out. The moths, the cicadas, whatever, the insect thingies. Are those insects, like, the second stage, you know, like, of the worms? Like, did the worms cocoon inside the Joker body, and then they exploded into beautiful butterflies, but not so beautiful? I mean, you know, each their own. We're all beautiful in our own, you know, unique ways. These moths, pretty disgusting though, let's be honest. So, was this some kind of metamorphosis transformation? And if so, where did they go? Is the third transformation dust? Or did they fly into a magical dimension or something? Those bugs disappeared. Those moth things are gone. Where did they go? The door was locked. That is the only thing they should be figuring out. Hold off burning the body, unless Donna, of course, is a spy, then that is the most important thing. Get rid of the evidence. But, like, what's going on? Like, they all need to be like, hold on. Like, the only person that shouldn't be reacting is the one withdrawing. That lady who's withdrawing from drugs, she can go sit in the corner and just shake. That seems fair. Everyone else should be like, we need to find these bugs. We need to make sure there isn't a hole somewhere, and it's not just a logical, oh, they were trapped in a room, there's a tiny hole there, they all went out the hole. And they look and go, well, that's it. Instead, they're just like, the bugs are gone. Shut up, who cares, Boyd? You should all care. What is going on? I wonder if it's just like so much crazy is going on. They're like, I don't know, man. We got monsters at the night. We're stuck in some kind of pocket world town. I can't be bothered about where the bugs went. Who cares? Like, they've just, like, everyone, I guess, has reached, like, a point of, like, yeah, everything's insane or whatever. Just, I don't care anymore. Just, I'm going to the bar. I'm going to drink that awful, awful homemade alcohol, and I'm just going to plant a tree. Like, just leave me alone. So that almost makes sense, but I feel like that should be like maybe one character is like, I'm just done, I don't care. But so many other people, especially the people who are newer to the town, I don't understand why they're not all, like, I don't know. Someone said this in the comments of my last video, and I think it really needs to happen at some point. I also think it would be a fantastic scene. Just get every single main character. The side characters can all just stay in their houses because they're not allowed to talk anyway. For budget or whatever, where you don't want to pay the actors, but they're there to make the town seem bigger. You know, I've seen TV shows. I get it. And you put all the main characters who have talking, like, lines in a big room and just have every single person just say what they know. Like, one person's like, it's clearly a science experiment because of this. And then the other guy's like, what about these clearly supernatural things that have gone on with me? The lighthouse, bubbity-bubbity-bub. And they list there. And they all just discuss and they all go, okay, maybe let's start kind of figuring this out rather than just keeping everything to ourselves for reasons. For no reason, really. I don't think I realized it. Maybe because I was binging, I was just so into it. But as soon as the people in the comments were like, they're not communicating at all, I have now realized, yeah, they're just not. And I guess it's just so you can have separate plots where you're like, well, this is maybe a thing, or maybe this is a thing. And the only things that make sense is in terms of, like, Jim and Randall go off on a plot this episode. And that is a very, you know, accusing someone in the town of being a spy, you keep that secret. But you know that there's, like, a magical lighthouse that gives you evil worms and there was an old man in there who knew things or whatever. Tell everybody that. They're not going to be more afraid. They're already as afraid as you could possibly get. They are stuck in the Fromiverse, and there are monsters at night that will eat them if they go outside. I think telling them that there's a lighthouse out there and it magically brought him back into town is something they need to know.